Welcome to the Trackside Lounge. It's episode 35. A lot of stuff to cover off on this week's episode. Some motorsport from the weekend, some motorsport coming up this weekend, some brand new sim racing tips from this man here who has been one of the few people in the world to actually do it. Gee, that sounds weird to do that, but Nathan will explain a little bit later on. Where shall we start, boys?
Well, don't categorise my son for a start, would be lovely. Formula One, I reckon we go straight to the top. Let's talk about what happened in America, because I didn't get a chance to see it. Yep. I wanted to, but I was coming back from a busy weekend, and I heard all about it, but I struggled to understand what was going through the heads on lap one, turn one. It just didn't make any sense.
It looked a bit haphazard as well. Do you think the boys had all been given dice rolls just before the start? Okay, boys, here we go. It's like roll a 7, you'll get it through the corner.
Yeah, the analogy that I saw used was that Lando tried to pull a Max move on Max, or that he tried to beat Max at his own game. The problem is he doesn't know the rules of that game. So because it was very aggressive dive.
Yeah,
like that is absolutely something that Max would have done himself, roles reverse. But just the fact that he consequently went wide and sunk down to P3 and kind of never really recovered after that.
And Liam didn't have a great time. Bit of contact.
No,
and
it was in the wars.
Yeah, not a great finish on that one. He did apologise to everyone afterwards, but I think the big talk is the planks on the bottom of the McLarens have caused them to be disqualified.
Double disqualification. Did you see too? So they must have known something was wrong, because with, I think it was like 10 or something to go laps, both the McLarens were slowing down drastically, because obviously they're trying to avoid wearing down that plank, but by then it was too far gone. Yeah, 0.16 of a millimetre, I think was the margin, which is huge in Formula One terms. To us, that's like, count the particles.
Okay, now stick with me on this, guys, because I do have what is called the world's best conspiracy theorist on this, right? Okay. As we know, Max Verstappen has having a little bit of trouble this season. It's not all been going his own way, and was a few points adrift when we came into this one. Where there are 2 more rounds left to go. Suddenly, Max Verstappen is second equal with an opportunity to get his 6th title. Do you think, perhaps, that somewhere along the line, when McLaren romped away with it, the guys from that control Formula One, who are American businessmen that we know at this stage, and they're all in Las Vegas, some said, "Hey, Zach, I was just wondering, buddy, your 2 guys are doing okay. I was just wondering if we could, freshen things up a little bit. I'll bet you $60 million that Max Verstappen wins this race." I'm just saying, it's the town for that sort of crap to happen in, Las Vegas. So my theory is that's why they disqualified both of those, and that's why Max is now in with a shout, and it makes it a bit more fair.
Just to keep the title from being decided early.
Either that, or there were manhole covers that the guys from McLaren were told were recharging units for their hybrid things, like in the electric ones.
Yeah, like drive over the pod.
Yeah, they were ripping over them, and they were just slicing bits off, because no one else went over those ones. There you go. That works.
Well, we've just seen sports betting, illegal sports betting and other forms of sports around the world. So why not a bit of motorsport conspiracy? I mean, when you think about it,
plank is going to be the first at the end. That's
everything's better in Vegas, and I wonder what the odds would have been. I mean, if you were a punter that actually put out there that said Max is going to win after the effect of a cancellation or a penalty or disqualification or whatever you want to call it, I'd say that person would have cleaned up they chucked a cheeky $100,000 on it or something like that. But
easy peasy, yeah.
Yeah, look, it is possible, but I'm sorry. From what I did see, I'm a little bit disappointed with Liam, and I'm a big supporter of Liam. But lap 1, turn 1, the guy needs to try and keep out of contact. He actually said himself that he pushed too hard at lap 1, turn 1, and he was sorry. And I'm, look, again, I'm not calling for a head to roll over this, because I think they're both, him and Yuki are hanging on by the skin of their teeth anyway. Yuki, less so, because he's been 5 years in the blooming thing, and he should be better. No, he quite honestly should be supporting his teammate. I mean, if Yuki was doing as good a job as Isaac as a teammate, supporting, if Isaac, if Yuki was getting those results, I mean, Max would be relatively happy because he'll be getting some points. He's not doing all the work, but he really has been poor, and I think that Liam really let a chance go by here on lap 1, turn 1. I think it was only by a little bit of luck that he managed to stay on the same lap, and get the nose done on the safety car and get the thing fixed back out there. But It was poor driving. It was a poor calculation. It's lap one, turn one, and even if you do back out of it a little bit early and you lose a spot or two, you stay top 10 and, points were in the offering. But it's got to be better than that from here on in. Liam, if you're watching this and there's a 0.163% chance you are.
But we'll take it.
We will. And, mate, I'm sorry for you. I'm rooting for you. But unfortunately, that was a harebrained move. And you apologise, and I think that's great. But we've just got to think a little bit beyond lap one, turn one, especially in a place like that with such a 90 left like that. It's a big ask. I mean, where the McLaren goes too deep, he goes off into no man's land, loses a spot. Well, that's the same thing with Liam. If he'd gone too deep as well, but he had Piastri beside him, so of course he goes and rubs wheels, and it just seems to be. In fact, I saw a bit of communication earlier on before the event that I wonder who Liam's going to hit in this race, and it just seems to be in every race there's some form of contact, and it's a moth to the flame. But yeah, I am disappointed. I'm a Kiwi, and I'm supporting the Kiwi, and I'm not just going to try and whitewash everything with wonderful, but I'm genuinely disappointed because it didn't need to happen, and all right. I just think it could have been better.
Thoughts on Aston Martin's CEO getting the Formula One CEO getting the chop after Vegas?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a weird time to do that because you're only a few races out from the end of the season.
Yeah, but doesn't that just stoke more fuel to the fire? You may remember I spoke about this, that the ex-boss of Red Bull, once he was let go, because Honda engines are staying with Aston Martin, he's going to be coming back in because Adrian Newey and blah, 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 and possibly Yuki Tsunoda. Watch this space.
It's a bit of a circus. Yeah. It's a circus, isn't it? And I think Supercars...
I read 19 different articles and I just pieced that.
And there was probably 50 different opinions in those 19 articles. But the business side of F1 and the sort of the corporate side of F1 can be almost as spicy as the racing itself. So, like you say, with Christian Horner getting the chop the way he did, and that was a very, very long, drawn-out process just because of obviously how long he's been in the team and what he means to the team or has meant. It is wild to sort of see these, and like I say, with only a few more races until the end of the season, weird time to do it, but that they don't make these decisions lightly, do they? There's always a reason, there's always a justification.
Drive to survive. Yep. The next season is going to be brilliant. It's going to be fantastic. You're going to get a whole more legion of fans.
Isn't it funny that you've got head honchos?
Not understanding Formula One.
No, you're right. But you've got head honchos there for Formula One with the dancing people around, and like you say, Christian's looking, like he might be doing something. But in Supercars, same thing with Roland Dane coming back into,
and deciding to unretire.
Exactly, and then what's happening with that team, and so we're starting to see all the stars align, and I think that it's going to be a very, very strong team with him involved next year for them. But as far as F1 goes, it's a weird time because you think you'd see the season out and then have the over Christmas silly season, but there's no such thing as what isn't a silly season with Formula One.
Rightio. Other motorsport events in the weekend, Mike, you were busy?
Yeah, I got the call a few weeks ago. We actually had Tim Hill and Raywin Burke on the show last week with NZIGP, and they invited me along to have a squeak for a few days or a couple of days. We went out on the Friday and watched the practice, and really quite cool, Nick, because for the first time in a long time we had 3 awesome days of weather. Yep. And even hopefully onwards we can have a bit of a settled summer and get some decent motor racing done. And the Friday, there's some really good speed in some of the cars in practice, trying a whole lot of different things, scrubbing in tyres. I even saw a team roading in some wet weather tyres, and you talked about that a while ago on
in the heat.
Yeah, they were roading in tyres. Literally went out, did one lap, came in on brand new wets, and just taking the green off them. And I thought, now there's a team that's well thinking, because
they won.
They did well. I won't say who it was, but they did really well. And it was a GTR NZ team, and they had a fantastic field. They had just the variety of cars they've got. So GTR NZ cover what they call Group 3 and Group 4. That's their slow class. They had the Group 3 is fast, and the Group 4 is slower, and then their fast group is Group 1, and then secondly is Group 2. And we've got a video there with a mate of ours actually from Hooncorp doing driving with the Lemons last year, Tanya Jones, and she was going really well in Group 3, and very, very good pace. And I'm commentating while qualifying's going on, saying, oh, she's doing really well, and she's doing 12s, and what a fantastic, and she's into the 11s. Oh man, she gets pole at the last minute. Well, what I didn't know was, you're not allowed to do 11s in Group 3. You're 12.0 is the fastest you can go. And she's, yeah.
So while she's getting better, she's actually getting worse.
Yeah.
But didn't she have an excuse for that one afterwards?
Yeah, the predictor didn't work. She said the predictor said it was a 12.034, so she actually done a great job, except the official timing said, no, you sucked and now you're going to start the race off the back. But there was other really standout groups. So the TA2s were there in numbers, and they were just fantastic to watch. The NZ V8 Utes were there, and they combined with what was the Super 6s, New Zealand 6-cylinders.
Yeah, how was that?
Oh, mate, just awesome. I mean, we've got another video there will maybe pop up later with son of Chaos, Peter Ward, his son Tyler, Mayhem. Mate, the kid's a character. He's as tall as I am, and he's a real character, and getting faster. But when they also amalgamate the 6-cylinder cars in there with them, there was supposed to be, the first race was supposed to be a 5-second hold before the 6s get underway.
Right.
It was like about a 30-second hold, and of course by the time they get going, not long far after the track, there's these V8 Utes come rumbling after them, so there was quite a bit of overshoot. The second race for them, they actually got it right, 5-second hold for the 6s, and off they went. And you know what, I think the 6s went so well, they're almost to the point of going, you know what we might do now is actually just run them scratch off the back, because they deserve to be there. You know, they weren't doing the same times as the Utes, but they weren't far away.
They weren't sometimes the predictions can get it a bit wrong about the speed differential. So.
Yeah, and what was really cool was seeing Martin Wells, who was the man in charge of the production racing series for so long, now in an actual 6-cylinder Commodore and doing the job. And, you know, he was slow. Now he was faster. Now he's getting quite fast. You all right?
It's just the power box thing.
Oh, it's good. And he's now talking. I saw one of the write-ups he did this morning from the weekend, and it's a full, doing this. He's talking like a race car driver. And I love seeing the new guys get better and faster and talk more like a race car driver, because there's a different language. You know, when you say, I went out there and the car was good and I wasn't very fast. But then when you got about, I tried this and we tried that, then we came in and we wrecked the tyre on that because I locked up a brake, and then we tried lower pressures and tried this, and it's a really cool thing. But the weekend was awesome. I mean, the class racing was fantastic. They got right through all of the championship stuff they needed to get into until the afternoon on Sunday. We did have a little bit of an abrupt early finish for the last round with a medical issue with someone, and we don't need to talk about that. But what we did have, and you know, fair is fair that person is respected and the family is as well. But I got to say, in that situation, it wasn't a crash, but in that situation, watching the race control people do what they need to do, when the car did stop, it lightly touched the wall, and I'm talking 20 kilometres an hour if you're lucky. And because of that, not just because of someone having a medical situation, the efforts that the race control have to go through, they have to time everything of what time a call was made. They have to obviously get the officials involved and get medical involved, get the recovery involved, get the ambulance from off the circuit there, pardon me, get the St John's guys there and everything, and all the other people, even fire engine turned up because, car involved and rah, and there was contact. So, but watching that system work, it's something that we all sit back from outside of the control room and go, oh, why did they do this and how come they did that? Why do they abandon the race meet? And there's so many contributing factors that people don't know about.
And you take it for granted because suddenly it's not the racing that's important, it's the safety aspect that's important.
Yes.
Not only concerned for the driver involved, but for everyone else.
Correct.
I mean, if some guy's parked it against a wall, what you don't want is someone come flying around and lopping into the back of him. It just makes it even worse. So congratulations to the officials, to the race control, especially to the emergency services that were involved in there, because it was the successful turnout of that stopped anything else happening. And also, we know the driver was taken to hospital.
Yep.
So we know that aspect. And I also want to applaud the organisers for, out of respect of that driver and what was involved, thought, it's probably a good time to call a day on everything. We don't want to finish, on a downer and that sort of thing. So thanks everyone for coming along, and it's a respectful moment.
I'll stop you there, if you don't mind, because this is a Nickism to say I stop you there. It actually wasn't in respect to the driver and the family. It was in respect to the racing, because we wouldn't have got through the whole class at the end of it with the time we finally had before the track closed at 5 o'clock. and there was a post-event debrief that had to be held with officials involved, so it's including marshals, so they wouldn't have had people manning the post.
Right. Yep.
As well as that, they had cars that had been sitting on the dummy grid for pretty much an hour before they were actually allowed to do that. And there was so many, it was a case of like, if we do run for another hour and a half, I think at the max, and we would never have got through the round, who are we going to say yes to and who are we going to say no to? And it was a real clean one to actually abandon that race. Excuse me, but too much talking on the weekend. Abandon that race and actually say, okay, you can actually make a championship with your quali, your results, your 2 races, and then hopefully understand. And you know, when the officials got together with all of the class reps and they explained it and said, hey, look, this is what we would prefer, this is what we propose, what do you want? And they all said, look, it's easier for us to actually make a series continue from this and this instead of it being some can and some can't. So, but you're right though, there was respect. There definitely was respect for the family, and there's respect from the marshals too, because once they found the person was unwell, they had this tarpaulin pulled out and pulled over the person. Of course, that shoots off all the the computer cowboys about this and that, and he or they or whatever. And it doesn't matter who it was or what it was. If you need to know, you need to know. If you don't need to know, shut your mouth and wait for the information to come out in due course in the right channels. Don't shoot off about this and why'd they do that. And I was really watching some of those comments this morning. I don't go hunting for them. They pop up, and I'm quite disappointed with a lot of what I see. It's gutter, and if it happened to him and it was my son and something happened to him and I see all the mouths shooting off like that, honestly, I'd be on the warpath. I'd go jihad on someone's butt, because it doesn't need to happen. It's nothing to do with you. It's to do with the family involved at that particular time, the organisers, and of course the way the protocol was. And one thing about Motorsport New Zealand, they are under the FIA, and everyone has a protocol. There is a protocol to observe, and I got to say, they observed it beautifully. And I was really we've had Deb on the show before, Deb Day, the president of Motorsport New Zealand. Yep. Yeah, you know what we did at the end? She came up and gave me a bloody good hug. And I don't know if it was for me or for her, but I needed it and I really appreciated it. And I think we both probably did. It was we aligned each other's spines at the end of it, So no matter who they are, they're human beings that make these calls. So thanks very much, Deb, and also to the family of the person involved. The racing was
great, but the organisation was absolutely better.
Absolutely,
and well done.
Thoughts and prayers and that for those that are involved. Hey, moving things from the real time racing to digital racing. You've got a bit of AUSNZ stuff happening along. Got a bit of good news. Can you share that news yet?
Well, the sign-ups obviously for COTA. We've got the 4 hours of COTA coming up on. Hang
on. What's COTA?
Circuit of the Americas.
Everyone
GT Racing knows what COTA is,
yep.
But. With so we've got the sponsor locked in. It's the Superstock Teams Championships. We've actually come on board to support the final round. So
cool.
That's obviously that's a huge event. If you've never seen Superstock Teams, you should look at Superstock Teams. It is absolutely entertaining racing, and so they're kicking off. They've got tickets on sale at the moment. Yeah, it's going to be an awesome race. We've already got some of the big teams signing up for the COTA race. As you'd expect, a lot of the championship contenders, because it's still anybody's game. And we'll be covering a bit more of that as that one crops up. Also got the Spa race getting broadcast, I believe, this weekend on Sky Channel 83. So the first hour of the race from the 6 hours of Spa. And then, I've basically spent my weekend playing Project Motor Racing, which, we've talked about this a fair bit. I got given an early code from Giant Software.
And?
Oh, it's so good. It's like, a lot of the modern games these days are modern cars. So they got traction control, they got ABS, they got paddle shift, they got all the electronic aids and stuff. A lot of these ones in PMR are the older cars, no traction control, no ABS. H-pattern with the manual, you've actually got to heel toe and rev match. I've wrestling an Audi 90, the old IMSA, the four-wheel drive one, five-cylinder turbo with about enough turbo flutter and transmission whine to just what a gorgeous noise.
They are absolutely mad.
You try running a Lister Storm around Monza. You remember the old Lister, the V12, Jaguar V12, rear-wheel drive.
Yep.
And just it's so cool. I'm really loving it. It's got its ups, it's got its downs. I'm going to put all my sort of thoughts into a video for the Sim channel. But what I've seen at the moment, it's got good bones, and the driving experience is just really good.
Love that expression. It's got good bones.
It does have good bones, because it's going to be the modding scene is just going to be massive. So people can actually mod in whatever cars. I could mod in your Fiat 500 if I wanted.
Oh yeah,
but
put a Lister engine in it.
But we could do a Formula 1 V10 or a Formula 5000 motor or something. But yeah, no, look, it's from what we've got at the moment. Are there enough cars? Probably not. Are there enough tracks? Probably not. But what we've got at the moment is a very, very good sum. If this is the racing experience for the day one game, then I think it's going to be pretty cool. People are going to enjoy it. And yeah, like I say, it's got the modern ones as well. It does have your hypercars and your GT3s and all that. But a lot of the appeal's the older stuff. The Panos Esperante, the Lotus Elise GT1, even the Gillette Vertigo.
Yep. So you're going to give us updates as you go through and develop your.
I think so.
Nice.
I think so. We've got a few guys. We've got a few guys on the team who are driving and teeing up events, and whether we look at doing something with AUSNZ next year in Project Motor Racing, it kind of depends on how the online rolls out, because we know this can take a bit of time to get right, but we'll see.
Oh, so that's exciting. And of course, it's the NZ, New Zealand Superstock Teams Champs down at Palmy in February. And have you ever been, Nick?
No, I've heard about it. You're getting, if you hear about it and think, I might just pop down in the weekend.
I do hear.
If you don't get your tickets,
hear there may be tickets for you.
If you don't get your tickets,
and I do hear
you miss out. And it's one of those things.
I do hear that Junior's never been. I know he's never been.
I haven't been.
There might be tickets for him, and we might be going down there for a bit of a before, during, and after of the NZ Superstock Teams Champs.
Do we get to pick a team before we go?
Yes.
And I think we should pick the team out of a hat.
Absolutely.
None of this. Yeah, we'll see how they've gone through the season. Stick your hand in, grab one out, and then back him to the
How
end.
did they go?
So New Zealand Superstocks Teams Champs, and there's going to be more about that coming up, because they've actually put their hand in the pocket and said, here you go, here's some money for the AUSNZ series and beyond as well. And I think there might be an associate sponsor coming up out of that as well. So I really appreciate the team and crew for that one of down in Palmerston North. So that's the esports, and of course Waiku Dirt Track coming up this Sunday.
Yep. Oh, and on Saturday you might want to head out to Waikaraka Park. The new track is ready. It's going to be practice this Wednesday, Thursday, and stock cars on the track on Sunday for the grand opening. The track is looking great. Just freaking awesome.
It's going to be fast, isn't it?
It is going to be. It's going to be a real experience. And then when we get the open wheelers up on December the 13th, I dare say all the boys it'll be the place to race.
And there's practices this week, isn't it? Wednesday,
practice
Thursday.
is Thursday for the open wheelers. And it's their first time to turn a track, and boy, they're queuing up for it.
Don't just worry about the open wheelers. Worry about the stock cars. It's Wednesday for the stock cars. All is open wheelers with you. You're just so stock car ignorant.
So the open wheelers aren't going to have a crack on the track before the stock cars have torn it to shreds.
We should put the stock cars out with the open wheelers. Then we'll see who's boss.
Here's the thing: the way it's been organised, and I think it's a really good way of organising it. The way the stock cars and the open wheelers run.
Yep.
Because you got to remember, everyone that talks about Western Springs, right? We haven't done this, and people always moan and complain about the track. Because in the last 3 seasons, the city council made it so you couldn't work on the track during the week. You could only work on the track during the day of the race. So it was really hard to get the track right. Now, at Waikaraka Park, with the season the way it's going to play out, stock cars can get out there and have a play on the track. She might get a bit rutted up, but that's all right, because we've got a full week to prep and get the track right for the open wheelers. And conversely, once the open wheelers have blown all the dust off, then you can actually set it up for whichever race meet is going to be there. The track is going to be in the best condition it is for those races.
And Waikaraka is pretty lucky too. They can. I mean, as soon as the race meet's over, they start straight away prepping for the next race meet.
And that's the thing that everyone at Western Springs has not had, or been able to have for, at least 10 years. So the track is going to be awesome. That's it, full stop.
That changes things, doesn't it? Because Western Springs was always known to have a pretty bad track, and I never knew that. So it's good to learn.
It's educational.
And
it was a tidal track. If the tide was in, one end would get wet and the other one would dry out in the sun. So it was a challenging track. If you were good at Western Springs, you're actually a really good driver. Yeah, and that was the beauty of it. That's why the Americans love coming over. It was such a challenging track. But we've got a fast Speedway coming up, and Waikaraka opens this week. And guess who's going to be busy there right through until April next year?
You.
Me.
Really? Yeah.
Looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. Speaking of fast things, the latest on the CMR guys in Bolivia. What's it you were saying? The officials had to leave early?
Yeah, the FIA officials, I think, had to shoot off. I need to go back, because they had the records, because they were talking about, we've got the fastest mini, but something about it couldn't be verified officially because the FIA officials had to knock off.
That was the issue with when they were down there and actually getting the containers so they could get on the salt to race. They were actually rapidly running out of time. So it was all done within a tight window. But like I say, world's fastest Mini, every time it went out, it got quicker.
Wow.
At the end, it was 5 mile an hour faster than its first run on the salt, and even that was a record compared to its previous time on the salt.
And doesn't it sound pathetic, 5 miles an hour, but we know how much of a difference that is. I mean, 5 miles an hour, that's a world. Half a mile an hour is amazing.
Put the 180 thing in front of it, and it suddenly brings it into perspective.
That's right.
So that was pretty impressive. And speaking of all things Mini, coming up in just a second, there is something to celebrate. 1959, Alex Isagonis produced the first Mini. Holds a record for having the most interior space versus its exterior dimensions, and has never been beaten. And of course, there's new Minis out there and that sort of thing, so you would think there'll be something to celebrate. And there is. More in a minute. It's part 2 of Trackside Lounge, episode 35, is it? 35, episode 35. We did mention Minis, mentioned something special, and with us, Dave McLeod. Now, Dave, we've seen you on, Tarmac Life.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, I've seen a couple of episodes on YouTube.
So you're the one?
Tell us more about it.
Yeah, so Tarmac Life, we started off as a website and car review site, and then we're asked by Channel 83 to do a car show. So
nice.
We sort of based it on Top Gear, obviously, without the humour, without the talent, and without any of the budget. And that's basically what you've got, is a weekly car show that showcases new cars, international travel, and all things that we love about our motors.
How do you manage the international travel bit?
Beg, steal and borrow.
Right.
I'm usually sort of shoved in the cattle class and away it goes, but
grab a seat, have some pretty good fare prices these days.
Jetstar, you can get there sometimes.
So how easy is it to get hold of some cars? Like if you see a car and you want to do a new review, do you go, I'll just phone them up and they'll give it to me? They must sort of, there must be an insurance policy the size of Africa.
Yeah, on the whole, we're now quite respected because we don't overly abuse these cars, which is much to.
I love the way you said
overly.
There's different degrees, right?
That traction control was off when I got it. I promise.
Exactly. Yeah, it had that scratch. It was there. It'll buff out. But generally, they call us now, so we've usually got 2 or 3 cars on the driveway per week now that we can mess around with.
Off the top of your head, best car you've done so far?
So far, it's so vast because the Mercedes stuff is so good. The GT63 was fantastic. But I like some of the older manual stuff because there's a lot of Chinese stuff out there that is quite generic and EV-ish and stuff, and it gets a little bit bland. So when you're given a convertible or a manual gearbox, it sort of starts to be a little bit more fun.
How many manual gearboxes are available on new cars these days?
Probably about 5 I can think of.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the Mustang, you can still get manual.
Mustang, you've got the Toyota Yaris.
Hang on, Toyota Yaris.
GR Yaris is fantastic.
And the GR Corolla, I think, is also man. Didn't they have, I know there was a bit of talk about doing a manual Supra. Did that end up happening?
Yeah, that was brilliant. It was very, very good. And you still got the GT86 as well, which is good.
So a lot of Toyotas, Fords, just trying to rack my brains to what else is
just
manual
the one,
in
because it
2020.
was the Focus SC or RS.
The Dark Horse as well, I think, the Dark Horse Mustang. So, Fords and Toyotas, and there's probably a few other Euros that we're not, there's a billion Euros.
Have you ever thought of, and I'm just off the top of my head because I've got a ratty old Fiat out there, 6-speed manual, you could do a feature on older fun cars.
Actually, we do want to do that. We're actually going to do some stuff with some auction cars as well to try to get some of those. So, because I like the stories behind the cars as well, why people got them, what they were involved with, how they made the money to get those cars as well.
What was your first car?
A Vauxhall Viva.
HA, HB, HC?
HB, I think. It was a 77, so VHT 277H. That was the number plate. You always remember the number plates, right?
Yeah.
And it was hand striped by me with with an Airfix thing. Cost 40 quid.
Nice.
My dad actually bought it. He knocked it down from 100 quid down to 40 quid. Yeah.
Nice.
That was when the pound was.
How long did it last?
It was really good. You could take the key out and open the glove box while you're driving. So it was a classy car.
Mate of mine used to have a Mark II Cortina. You could start with a spoon. And one day someone did start it with a spoon and went away with it. So that was just one of those things. Right. So you cover off all these cars. Tarmac Life is where we get to see these events. Yep. And something special for the car we mentioned just before the break. Currently the fastest Mini in the world with CMR has set new world records and 66 years of the Mini. And you have a challenge.
Yeah, we thought, okay, celebrating 66 or the 66th birthday of Mini doesn't sound, it's not a milestone number, right? But it's kind of, it's an oddity because they've just launched all their new Mini EVs. And so all their, they're changing the powertrains and things like that. So we thought, why don't we celebrate by driving around the whole of North Island for 66 hours, sort of just...
Well, hang on, continuously?
No, we're going to stop and sleep. And the other thing is also combining my other passion, which is food, and British food at that. So snacks, we're going to stop by, we're going to have a roast dinner, we're going to have an English breakfast in different... So we're going to do 6 cities, 66
million Mars
hours.
bars on the way.
Oh, yeah. And actually, the Aero Peppermint was actually, that was in 1959.
Was
That's
it
when
really?
it came out, yeah.
Wow.
So we're going to have those things and some Cornish pasties and, you know, all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to come back at least twice. Well, actually, the size of the 3 of us by the time we get back.
So are other challenges involved, I mean, apart from eating?
Going to go on and sort of do a mini go-kart, probably going to go on a mini railway, probably going to do mini golf, those sort of things. But I'm going to wear a mini skirt.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do that. No, let's not go there.
On the second night, it'll be a mini hangover.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. So actually, if you've got any challenges along the way, we'd love to have some of those some ideas.
I've got one for you. When the Mini first came out, and students used to do things like see how many people you could get in a car. Volkswagen was a good one. In 1970, just before I left the UK, on Blue Peter, they got a Mini and they got 21 people in a Mini and closed the doors. They were the average height of a UK person at the time, which was 5'4" 3/4 inches. They got 21 of them in the car and they drove the car 10 feet. So, how many people do you think you could fit in a new Mini?
I think it would be, well, they're much bigger now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Aren't we all since that?
Everyone's bigger these days.
But I don't think you're going to be able to do it because of airbags. I just think I think the chances of something going off, I think, would be just awful. And so you'd have 21 people down to 20 or squat.
I was going to say,
it'd be really messy.
Yeah, that
How
would be
many
a
people
bit.
can we get in the car without an airbag going off?
Yeah, it could end badly, I think.
That's fantastic. So what Minis are you going to be driving? Are they going to be classic Minis, going to be new Minis?
No, we're just going to do the 3 Minis, the 3 new ones. So it's going to be the Countryman, the Aceman and the Cooper.
Oh, nice. Which one have you got?
I think we're going to share them around and we're going to do paper, scissors, rock for which one we're going to sleep in. Because,
Oh, hang on. You're going to sleep in the car?
In the car,
as well?
yeah, of course.
So not even like a hotel sort of meetup?
No.
Okay.
I told you we're a low-budget organisation.
Not even a tent.
No.
That is going to be interesting.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that my paper, scissors, rocks, what is it?
Which one are you hoping to get?
I really enjoy the Cooper. I think the Cooper is so traditionally, awesomely sort of mini. But I don't know, to sleep in, I want the Countryman.
Yeah, you definitely want one of those. So when does it start?
So we're going to start next weekend. Actually, next Thursday. This Thursday, actually, we're going to start off. So we're going to start off at Monganui, up at the fish and chip shop right up the top there.
Yep, starting with fish and chips.
Yeah, we're going to start off with there because might as well start off with that. And I think we're going to go down to Auckland, then Hamilton, then New Plymouth, Wellington, across to Hastings, and then back. We're going to end up on Sunday for a Sunday roast.
That's wonderful. Now, if people see you on the road, how will they recognise you on the road?
I'll be probably eating Mars bars.
Look for the grease stains all over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And if anyone's got a classic Mini and you see 3
join
Minis
us on
going
those.
Absolutely, that'd be great. That would be awesome. Well, there you go. Something to look out for. Minis are still good, still spectacular. A mate of mine's got a 65 Mini Cooper S that we had to rebuild.
We did the pork pie challenge 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. You've done the of that?
No, they wouldn't let me for some strange or bizarre reason. Apparently, I took the pork pie bit just a wee bit too far. Too much pork, too many pies.
I thought it was more about the police chase, but anyway.
And that's a good place to end the show. Thanks very much. Don't forget, a big thanks to the NZ Superstocks for supporting us with our online gaming. More on that next time.